This is a story about a young man who, after a bad breakup, decides to try his luck on a dating app. He meets a very good-looking girl on the first night he sets up his profile, and she messages him first. But as you know all too well, some things are just too good to be true, so stay tuned for this gruesome affair. Plenty of snaps. Finding yourself in the talons of an owl and the shadows of the forest moonlight, it's a gruesome affair. When I was in college, online dating was the popular thing to do. I was always wary of it, but one night a few friends and I were having a few drinks, and they convinced me to sign up. I had recently broken up from a long-term relationship, and they kept telling me that this was the best way to move on. So I signed up for one of the popular dating apps in my province. I completed the generic profile and added my hobbies, likes, and interests. I browsed through my phone to try and find a suitable profile picture. Once I found one, all I had to do was simply upload it, and my profile would be completed. We continued drinking well into the late hours of the night, and then sometime between 2 a.m. and 3 a.m., my friends all called their cabs and went home. It was a Saturday night, and I never had anything else to do, so my plans were to stay up late and sleep Sunday away. I decided to have a few more drinks and browse through the dating app to see the girls that were in my area. When I opened the app, I noticed that I had a message in my inbox. I opened the message and was immediately blown away by how good looking this girl was. Her username was SugarKitty22, and being in my drunken state, I thought it was a pretty playful name, and it also meant she was my age. The message was simple, and it was the standard, "Hey, how are you?" I replied to the message saying I was doing good. What about you? And I was surprised that she messaged me back almost instantly. We spent the next few hours messaging back and forth well into the early morning, to the point the sun was beginning to rise outside. We had exchanged message after message, getting to know each other. We were asking the normal questions like, "What's your favorite movie? Where did you grow up? What's your favorite song?" But then I got a message from her that I found a bit strange. "Do you live in the yellow 2-story house at the end of the street?" I had to reread the message because at first glance, I thought I was just too drunk and read it wrong. But sure enough, that was indeed what she had written. I thought about my next message long and hard before writing back. I sent her 3 words. "Who is this?" I normally got a response pretty quickly from her, but after sending this one, the messages stopped. I texted the few friends that had convinced me to sign up for the site and accused them of screwing with me. I told them that I'm glad they had their fun, but to stop messing around. None of them texted me back, so I figured they were either all still asleep by now or too embarrassed to write back. So I turned my phone on silent and decided it was time for me to get some sleep as well. Half the day went by and I finally woke up. I was hungover as hell, but I was awake. I looked at my phone and saw all the missed phone calls and messages from my friends. I went through the messages, and each one of them denied it was them who was messaging me. I called them all back, and each one of them convinced me that after they left my place, they went home and passed out. They assured me that they wouldn't do that to me. After all, I'd been through a lot in the past few months with my ex. Convinced that it wasn't them, I returned to my inbox on the dating app, and as I suspected, SugarKitty22 had replied to my message a few hours ago. "You don't know me, but we pass each other often as you're walking to work." This message too struck me as odd, mainly because she added, "as you're walking to work." I never knew how to respond to this. The girl never looked familiar to me at all, and quite frankly, someone that good looking would stand out in a small town like mine. I grew suspicious of the person I was talking to. but I was wondering if I was just too paranoid. I went back to her profile and saved her display picture to my phone. What she never anticipated was that I knew my way around a computer and I wasn't the type to get catfished. I went to Google's reverse image search and uploaded the picture, and it confirmed what I had feared. The photo this person was using was taken off the internet, and it belonged to a girl from North Dakota who had uploaded it onto her Tumblr page. I was starting to get pissed off now. I just found it frustrating that someone would go through great lengths just to fuck with some random guy on a dating site. What was even more infuriating was that they messaged me first. I went back to the dating site and sent another message. I don't know who you are or what your problem is, but I know that the picture you are using isn't of you. Stop messing around with me and wasting my time. Find someone else to play with. I sent the message and blocked the user. After this, I decided that online dating just wasn't for me, so I deleted the app and would try to meet girls the old-fashioned way, at parties, bars, or like in the movies at a grocery store. A few weeks went by and I had almost forgotten about Sugar Kitty 22. That was until I received a Snapchat friend request one day from no other than Sugar Kitty 22. I debated deleting the request, but I gave the person the benefit of the doubt. Maybe she or he was ready to come clean and tell me who they really were. I accepted the request, but decided I wouldn't be the first one to snap, so I waited. After class that evening, I was laying on my couch in the living room, watching some dumb reality show on TV that I couldn't stop watching. My phone was on the coffee table, and it lit up. I reached for it and saw that I had a new Snapchat notification from Sugar Kitty 22. When I opened the picture, all I could see in the 5 seconds before it disappeared was the front of my house. It looked like whoever had taken the photo took it from across the street. I got up and walked over to my window and looked out. I couldn't see anyone there. My phone lit up once again with another notification. When I opened this picture, it was of me standing at my front window with my hands pressed against the glass trying to see out. The whole situation was starting to feel creepy. I didn't know if I was scared or if I was just pissed off entirely. There was no one home with me, so I never knew really how to react. I did the most logical thing first, though. I closed my front curtains and made sure that the doors were locked. I sent a message to Sugar Kitty 22 through the Snapchat message feature. Who the fuck are you? And all I got in return was the same message as from the dating site. You don't know me, but we pass each other often as you're walking to work. I was beginning to get annoyed with this, so I called my friends again to find out which one of them was screwing with me. Each one of them swore it wasn't them, and they seemed genuinely concerned. They told me that I should stop messaging this person and call the police. So that's exactly what I did. I hung up the phone with my friends and called our local police station. 4 rings went through and the officer on duty answered the phone. I told her what was going on and she told me, unfortunately, there were no laws broken. She told me to block the user and to refrain from engaging in any further communication. I did exactly what the officer had told me to do. As soon as I got off the phone with her, I went back into the app and I went to block the user. There was one message waiting for me that was received when I was on the phone. I debated for a few seconds on whether I should open it or just ignore it. I decided to open it. It was another picture of my house. This time, it was through the window of my front door. The angle that it was taken on, so you could see me standing in the kitchen on the phone. My temper was rising and I was about to snap, but I knew I had to remain calm. I was safe as long as I was in my house. When the message disappeared, I blocked the user to prevent any further snaps. A while later, there was a knock on my front door. I chose to ignore it, hoping whoever it was would go away. Someone started to ring my doorbell repeatedly. I looked down over my stairs and through the front door, and I could see a guy standing there. I couldn't make out his face because he was wearing a hoodie that hid most of his face. This was my breaking point. Enough was enough. I went into my bedroom and locked the door behind me. I called 911 this time, hoping they would take me more serious, but it didn't make much difference. They ended up redirecting my call to the local police department, and I got the same officer as I was talking to before. This time, though, she seemed more concerned. She told me to remain in my room and that she would dispatch a car to my house right away. The next few minutes felt like hours. As I stood in my room waiting to hear the sound of sirens, all I could hear was my doorbell ringing over and over. Then, out of nowhere, it stopped. My house grew silent, and I hoped that whoever was at my front door grew tired and just decided to leave. I was wrong though, because following the silence, I heard the sound of glass breaking, followed by the sound of someone walking up my stairs. I could hear whoever it was walking around my house. I could hear their steps in my kitchen, and then slowly they made their way into my hallway. Whoever it was walked through my hallway until stopping in front of my bedroom door. I could see their shadow underneath my door, just standing there. Then they began to knock on my bedroom door. I remained as calm as I could, but in all honesty, I was freaking the fuck out. I remained silent in my room. The only thing separating me from the intruder was a wooden door that I knew they could easily break down if they wanted to. I could see that they were still standing there, waiting, knocking. Then, in a voice that was almost a whisper, they said, "You should come out. Just come out. I won't hurt you. I just want to talk." I was frozen, and all I could say back was that the police were on their way. I don't know if the intruder thought I was lying, but he remained on the other side of the door. A few moments later, the sound of sirens could be heard approaching. This is when the person finally ran out of my house. I stayed safely in my bedroom until I heard the officer come into my house and announce his presence. I bawled out that I was in my room and that the intruder had left. I felt comfort knowing this cop was in my house, so I opened the door to my bedroom and walked towards his voice. I told him everything, how I started getting messages from the person last night, followed by those creepy Snapchats. He believed me when he saw the broken glass at my front door, and he assured me that there were several officers sweeping the streets now looking for anyone in the vicinity. The search turned up empty, and the person wasn't caught. I never received any more messages after that day, but occasionally I get phone calls from payphones around town, and when I pick up, all I can hear is someone on the other end breathing heavy. I changed my number shortly after that and bought a more secure front door. To this day, I stay away from dating sites, and I only accept friend requests on any social media platform from people that I know. Walking to and from work, though, is an anxiety on its own now when passing strangers on the street. I always think back to those haunting words. "You don't know me, but we pass each other often as you're walking to work." And I can't help to wonder if any of them are Sugar Kitty 22. Smoking Owl here. I really enjoy these horrible stories and hope that you do too. If so, please rip at the like button and scratch a comment. And best of all, help me on the path to 100 subscribers by subscribing now. And catch you on another night very soon.